Alright, what's going on, guys? Armored Core 6 is releasing on August 25th, putting us, at least as of right now, a little over a month away from that date. And I'm sure you've seen the discussion going around about how Bandai Namco is choosing to market this game, because in all reality, Armored Core 6 is receiving the bare minimum in terms of promotion. But there's something else that's contributing to the less than adequate hype for this game that goes beyond simply a marketing issue. So today I want to address that, and discuss my worries not only as a fan of the game, with a desire to see it succeed, but also because I believe Armored Core can do something for the gaming industry that we've needed for a long time. But if there's one thing I care about more than FromSoftware games, it's physical health. So that's why I'm excited to tell you about the partner of today's video, FlexiSpot, who hooked me up with one of their top of the line adjustable height standing desks. Fellas, we live in a world where most of our time is spent sitting down, whether it be riding in a car, sitting behind a desk at work, or even enjoying an evening of video games. All of that time really adds up, and it can take a toll on our health, and standing desks are a fantastic way to take back control and enjoy all the benefits of spending time the way our bodies were intended. I've been using their E4 Pro for over a week now, and it's probably my favorite addition to my setup that I've had in a long time. With a huge range of height adjustments, 3 mode presets to quickly switch between heights whether you feel like standing or sitting, it is the perfect desk for any type of activities. And the high quality bamboo top looks great in any setup. So with Prime Day coming up, it is the perfect time to grab one of these for yourself by checking out my link down in the description below. So a massive thank you to FlexiSpot, and now back to the video. Let's start our discussion today by taking a look at the overall climate of marketing with what Armored Core has received so far. The Game Awards on December 8th brought us the first reveal trailer and started the initial discussion around Armored Core to get the name out there to a wide audience. It would then be almost 5 months later before we heard anything else about the game, with the first look at some gameplay being shown on April 27th. And this was probably the height of Armored Core's marketing train so far, with FromSoftware going out of their way and doing numerous interviews to share details about the game. And this marketing strategy of interviews would continue for a while after that, with a new one coming out almost weekly. However, the information provided would tend to be the same throughout most of them. We wouldn't actually see anything new about the game until Summer Games Fest, where a preview of a demo level was shown to press and select content creators, with a very spliced and much shorter version being given out to the public a few days after. And now, almost 3 weeks later, we've been getting that gameplay showcase repeatedly marketed, passed off as new gameplay even though we've already seen it for 3 weeks. And this is where the conversation has been picking up, with fans very frustrated that the game is not receiving the same promotion as many games in the past. But let's clarify something before we really start picking it apart. Does FromSoftware even care about marketing? As we all know, the marketing leading up to Elden Ring was very few and far between, or at least that's what we thought. A user over on the Armored Core Reddit shared this image comparing the official marketing between Elden Ring and Armored Core so far. It really puts into perspective just how little information we have. And you can see there at the bottom that we have a little over 45 days left until the game's release. And the extent of valuable things we've seen so far are only 2 trailers and 4 minutes of edited gameplay with no HUD. When it came to Elden Ring, almost twice as early, we had already played a very extended demo of the game and gotten over 20 minutes of gameplay. So the fans had a very clear picture of what they were buying. Now we do know that FromSoftware operates on a policy of integrity, making the games that they want to make regardless of sales or numbers. And it's one of the reasons why their games are so good. However, Armored Core is in a completely different playing field than Elden Ring was. It's been almost 10 years since the last release, and FromSoftware was not the giant they are today back then. They've earned their notoriety through the Souls games, a completely different genre than Armored Core. Armored Core represents a gigantic change that they as a company haven't experimented with in a decade, but it goes even further beyond that. The mech genre as a whole is far past its prime. I remember being a kid and going into an arcade, I would see mech games everywhere, and used to play a lot of them back on the GameCube or Xbox 360, but that was a long time ago, and the landscape has changed dramatically. With the market being primarily dominated by FPS titles or RPGs, the average consumer nowadays probably hasn't played anything like Armored Core. FromSoftware could afford to be silent on Elden Ring, because its roots ran deep from the Souls formula. It was more of a Souls game than anything unique, so the players already knew what to expect. And because of that game's wide success, FromSoft now has very strong brand loyalty, and so in order to capitalize on that, they need to communicate what this next product is. Because there's no doubt in my mind that Armored Core is going to be a fantastic game, but for the wide range of their audience, if they go into it expecting it to play like a Souls game, and it's vastly different, which it will be, then they'll be left disappointed. But even for the long-time Armored Core veterans, they still require that marketing. We're just now coming out of a long-standing debate in the community over how Souls-like Armored Core 6 is going to be, and that confusion is due to the lack of information information and key details being withheld from the public. We're still missing those major bits of the veterans to chew through to paint a better picture for the rest of us exactly what the game is going to be like. We haven't seen the HUD, we haven't seen how the lock-on works from the player's perspective, and we haven't gotten to feel how it plays. These are all things that the community is begging to get more information about, and I think there's one fantastic way that FromSoftware can answer all these questions and restore the hype behind Armored Core 6. Lies of P was a game that a lot of people were talking about a year ago, and since then really hasn't been a point of discussion. It's a new Souls-like releasing this September, and while yes it is a different genre than Armored Core, its base is primarily made up of FromSoftware fans, so it'll share the same audience as Armored Core 6. But at Summer Games Fest it was announced that Lies of P would be releasing a demo, and when fans actually got to try out the game, it created a storm of attention. Here you can see a comparison chart for Google searches for Lies of P and Armored Core 6. This covers the dates of both the Lies of P demo being released and the new gameplay being showcased for Armored Core. You can see that the demo created an immense amount of hype because number one, the game was actually good and fun, and number two, it answered all the questions players had about the game. Meanwhile, the very bare bones and edited gameplay that we got for Armored Core 6 did very little in terms of hype. FromSoftware has a golden opportunity here to release a demo of Armored Core 6 and allow the players to get a taste of what it's going to be like, since we don't exactly have any modern objects of comparison. What it comes down to is that word of mouth is the strongest form of marketing, and over the next month the gaming marketplace is going to be very quiet. If they were to release a demo very soon, it would show what we already know, that the game is going to be very good and fun, but it would show that to the right people that still need to be convinced of that, which in all reality might be the majority. We really saw this effect with the Elden Ring network test. While Elden Ring definitely had a lot of hype behind it, more so than Armored Core does at the moment, there were a lot of people still on the fence about playing this game, mainly due to the fact that it was going to be open world. However, after actually being able to get hands-on with the game, the hype for this release went through the moon. This was the point when the word of mouth started to spread, and the base for extreme numbers upon the game's release was already set. That base for Armored Core at the moment is significantly smaller, and while I have no doubts that the marketing is going to pick up for this game, and I have no hesitations about the game being good, I simply don't think FromSoftware can afford to wait until after the game is released to really try to push it. That marketing needs to happen right now. Starfield is a potential Game of the Year contender and one of the biggest releases happening this year. It releases 2 weeks after Armored Core. No matter how good Armored Core 6 is, if they rely solely on word of mouth marketing after the game's release, it will get drowned out by Starfield. I have full confidence in FromSoftware to deliver a great game, but there's an opportunity here with enough marketing for them to not only sell the max amount of copies, but to also bring about a revival of the mech genre and the Armored Core franchise as a whole. And that's where all this concern comes from. It's not that I feel we're entitled to a demo or that they need to follow in the footsteps of every single AAA game developer. The bottom line is there are a ton of new potential fans coming off the back of Elden Ring that are not familiar with this game, and they need to be convinced. And if the trend continues at the rate it's going now, they're going to miss out, and Armored Core 6 will miss out on the recognition it really deserves. Anyways though guys, that's just my opinion on all of this. I just wanted to come on here today and address my concerns about the marketing, but let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree with me? I've seen both sides floating around, and I think the whole situation is very interesting. But if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new around here. And with all that, I will catch you in the next one.